The courtroom was silent except for the scratching of pens and the hum of cameras, every eye locked on the woman standing at the podium. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett had been called to argue her position on a contentious case, one that many thought was out of her league. She knew the stakes. She knew the eyes watching. What she didn't expect was the mocking laughter that came from the bench. Justice Stephen Breyer, known for his wit but also for his occasional sharp dismissals, leaned back in his chair, chuckling audibly. "Congresswoman," he said with a smirk, "that's an interesting interpretation of the law. Creative, I'll give you that. But surely you don't expect us to take this seriously?" His words, laced with amusement, drew more than a few chuckles from the gallery. The sound stung like an open wound. For a moment, Jasmine froze. Her chest tightened, her throat dry. She had faced opposition before, but to be laughed at by a Supreme Court justice, in front of the nation, felt like an attempt to erase her voice completely. Whispers rippled through the courtroom. Reporters scribbled down the moment eagerly, waiting to see how she would react. Would she shrink back, humiliated? Would she lash out and ruin her credibility? Instead, Jasmine Crockett took a breath. She lifted her eyes, not flinching, not breaking. And then she spoke, her voice calm but edged with steel. "Justice Breyer, you may laugh at my words. But outside this courtroom, in the neighborhoods I've walked and the families I've represented, there is nothing funny about injustice. Children cry because their futures are stolen. Mothers bury sons who should still be alive. Fathers sit behind bars for crimes they didn't commit. If my argument seems unusual, it is only because the suffering of real people has been ignored for so long that their pain now sounds like a joke to those far removed from it." The laughter in the courtroom stopped instantly. The air grew heavy, the silence deafening. Every face turned back toward her. Breyer himself, once smirking, now leaned forward, his expression sobered. Jasmine continued, her words slicing through the room like ice. "I stand here not to entertain you, not to impress you, but to speak for those who cannot stand here themselves. If justice laughs at them, then justice has already failed." The gallery was motionless. Even the judge's gavel seemed unnecessary, no one dared make a sound. Breyer cleared his throat, visibly unsettled. The mocking tone had evaporated, replaced by something else, respect, perhaps even shame. Jasmine pressed on, her voice unwavering. "The law is not a stage for clever remarks. It is a lifeline for the desperate. And if we forget that, if we reduce these lives to punchlines, then this court is not a place of justice, it is a place of cruelty. I will not let their pain be laughed away. Not today." By the time she finished, the room was frozen in awe. The power dynamic had shifted. What began as a moment of humiliation had become a historic turning point. Clips of the exchange spread online like wildfire. The video was replayed millions of times within hours, the headline stamped across social media, "Crockett silences Breyer with one line." Commentators called it the moment Jasmine Crockett carved her place in history, not as a politician, not as a lawyer, but as a voice unafraid to confront even the highest seats of power. For many watching, it wasn't just about her, it was about the principle that truth, when spoken with courage, can turn even laughter into silence. When reporters later asked her how she stayed calm under such ridicule, Jasmine simply replied, "Because their laughter doesn't erase my people's pain. And if I let that laughter silence me, then I would be betraying every voice I came here to represent." And so the story of that day lived on, a reminder that courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it speaks calmly, turning even the warmest laughter into ice.